Okay, right up front, I want to say this pattern sucks. I want to move stuff around. I want to remake it. I want to rotate these numbers so there's more variety. Things be angled in different directions. It would probably be a better idea to make these elements smaller so I could have multiples. The more variety you have inside the tile, the less predictable these repeating elements are. But these repeating elements, see the eights? See the eights? These repeating elements, they're going to, that's a pattern. The more complex the tile is, the more unpredictable those repeating elements are, but they're always visible. You can always see them, no matter how complicated this gets. Now, having confessed, and I think you'll agree this kind of sucks, it's just the basics. These don't have to be numbers. They could be zombies. They could be flowers. They could be, different types of unicorns or fuzzy bunnies. I don't know. Whatever you want to make. But the idea is when we make this, you have to not place all the elements. I mean, Command 0 and then Command minus a couple times. So we can begin to just see this tile and these elements. Now, this is trimmed because there's a clipping mask on here. I made a rectangle that's exactly the same size as the artboard. See this path that's lighting up? I roll over it and it says path. If I zoom in, see the path? If I click on that path to select it, you're going to see it's 400 pixels by 400 pixels. It's just a rectangle that's sitting there. If I right-click on this and say Release Clipping Mask and let it go, it reveals everything else. So I'm going to click to deselect. Then I'm going to come up to the edge of that path, click on it, and delete it. There's no longer anything here. All that's here are these elements. And I want to show you really quickly, this 5, I repeated, I made a copy of this 5 and then repeated an element of it over exactly 400 pixels along the x-axis. This 3, same thing. I made a copy of this and moved a copy of it exactly 400 pixels along. The 8, same thing. 400 pixels along the y-axis. The horizontal is the x, vertical is the y. You know this from your math classes, right? And the reason I grouped this is because if I want to move this 8, now I can use my arrow keys to just kind of nudge this along and move it around. I don't care if I wreck this pattern because this pattern sucks. And I might sit here and say, let's make that 1 go that way. Let's make this 2 go this way. Let's make a little more interest. But I can't rotate this because if I rotate both these, it no longer aligns. So in order to move these, and I want to come back and I want to do it. Now I want to change a couple things. We'll make a few changes, but the idea that your elements have to extend beyond if you're working with individual elements. If you're working on lines and you want to make a line kind of wander along and leave the other side, well, this line doesn't have to exit in the exact same point, but something else, a curved line here, has to exit on that point so it matches up with that. There always has to be that horizontal and vertical connection, whether it's the exact same element or different elements as it is with a line. Just remember that thickness has to be the same. The color has to be the same. What happens in between this point, the exit point and the entrance point, that is where creativity sets in. Now, I know that may not make made a lot of sense, but I want to come back and show you. I want to eliminate this 5, this 8, and this 3, and make some changes, and then we'll replicate these so you'll begin to see what the heck is going on.